some sad news. I've talked about this issue many times before, but now it appears it has happened again. And I'm sharing the screen here of this is from Libs of TikTok. Jocelyn Nungaray, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, was found raped and strangled to death by two Venezuelan, they're calling them migrants, but they're actually illegal aliens. I have talked about this issue at length, and I asked this: what NGO brought them over? What government assistance were they on? Did a crooked company hire them or their relatives? I'm going to play a little bit of the footage here. This is again from Libs of TikTok. This just happened. The arrest for this happened a few minutes ago. This girl had been missing since Monday.
He released these photos of the two persons of interest.
My car I pinged her phone, and it pinged right over there, and I ran, and that's what I saw. Tape and officers, and I ran up to him, told him my daughter was missing. He wouldn't tell me anything. It wasn't until an hour later I got called to go downtown to talk about her whereabouts, and that's when I was given the information.
We obtained these surveillance videos showing Jocelyn at the 7-Eleven just after midnight. A witness tells me she asked for water. She returned with this man in a white hat. You can see she's on the phone. Nungaray says she made a call to her 13-year-old boyfriend, who says he could hear two adults in the background. Have you been able to talk to him or know what they talked about?
I have no clue.
HPD released these photos of the two persons of interest. Nungaray says she doesn't recognize them, but she hopes whoever is responsible is held accountable. What would you want them to know?
I want karma to hit them. I'm like angry that they took advantage of her. She's so young. She's 12. I want justice. I want them to come forward. I want whoever has seen them, please just, you took my baby away.
So folks, this has happened again. We talked about recently Laken Riley, another one who was killed by an illegal. She was a college student that was attacked, I believe, on campus by someone who shouldn't have been here. And of course, we've talked about these deaths before. There's another picture. These are the two that were arrested. This happened in Houston. They're from Venezuela. Venezuela in particular has actually dumped out a lot of their prisons. So these people have probably committed crimes in that country as well. Laken Riley is another one. And this is the illegal who killed Laken Riley. He had been released under Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas. So I don't know if these two illegals from Venezuela, that's why I asked the question, who let these people? We already know the Biden administration deliberately let these people in, maybe even flown them in and put them in a hotel that you and I paid for. But they were most likely on some kind of government program. You can tell, I mean, they weren't exactly starving. And of course, just like Laken Riley's family, this woman won't get an invite. The media will do everything in their power to protect this. And of course, if you've been in the fight for dealing with illegal immigration, you know there's people called angel families. They are victims of illegal alien crime. Here in Arkansas, we have Sabine Durden, whose son was killed by an illegal. Oftentimes, we also have to wait and see if there's going to be actual justice done. They should be given the death penalty, but what's likely is a lot of leftists will hire attorneys to make sure that the sentence is done to these illegals is real law. The person that killed Sabine Durden's son is actually let out after only served a few months. Sometimes I know the Kate Steinle was another one. The illegal that killed her was only given a partial sentence on a gun charge and then let go. So, and it's Texas, but it's also Houston, and we're seeing these blue cities that are ruining this nation. There's about 14 or so blue cities. There's no blue states anymore. It's about 14 or so blue cities that are ruining the rest of this nation with their policies. And of course, Washington, D.C. being the prime example. But speaking of cities, here in Arkansas, which you would think is a blue state, we actually do have a sanctuary policy. We have this is a municipal ID program. It was announced in April of 2022. It's with a group called Seis Puentes Butterfly Ministries. And what it does is it gives IDs to illegal aliens. Now, it doesn't say it exactly. It says it benefits the immigrant community and also the elderly, homeless, and others who lack any form of identification or city. Folks, you can get ID in the city. You can get ID. You know how to get a driver's license. You can get many other forms of identification. It's supposedly for things like utilities and opening a bank account. There's multiple. First of all, if you're in the country legally, you're given identification that it, and of course, you get a driver's license, you can get those things. There's lots of ways to get IDs, and we all know this is real. It's about signing up for the system. It's if you're wondering why your electric water never goes down, it's because you're subsidizing illegals, and they won't tell you. And of course, they'll also be, in many cases, they'll be given the right to vote because of those IDs. And when you have that kind of policy, you end up with more Laken Rileys and more Jocelyns. And it's sad, and it's the nation's being destroyed because of that. And of course, we here in Arkansas, I was part of this fight, the effort to stop sanctuary cities. We passed a bill years ago. This was in 2019 to prohibit cities from refusing to cooperate with federal immigration authorities. And the threat is that if they are doing what's known as sanctuary policies, we'll cut off the funding. But it's obvious now that it's going to have to be expanded, because what a lot of cities are doing is they'll cooperate with the federal authorities if the feds bother to do anything, but otherwise they're basically giving out IDs and finding other ways to help illegal aliens at the expense of we the people, in both our taxpayer funds and our safety. So I just want to let people know that just happened. Again, say her name, Jocelyn Nungaray. She's certainly far more important than St. Floyd of fentanyl. She didn't beat up somebody at a gas station, try to punch a cop like Michael Brown did. She's an innocent victim, killed by policies of Joe Biden, killed by the policies of Mayorkas, killed by Democrats and by weak, spineless Republicans. This is one of the reasons why we need people like Donald Trump. This is one of the reasons why we've been cleaning up the Republican Party, is because of this issue. Laken Riley was killed in a little town called Athens, Georgia, but they had the same policy. The mayor went out there and basically said, oh, this has nothing to do with the immigration. And didn't care. No sympathy whatsoever. It is the destruction of this nation. And I know there's a bunch of Democrats and fake Republicans and some fake libertarians that think illegal immigration somehow works, that it's somehow the free market. It's not. There's no such thing as an open border free market system. It does not work. You show me a nation that has economic prosperity, I will show you a nation with secure borders, with a strict immigration policy. 1950s, we had Operation Wetback. We rounded up illegals and put them away. And in 2006, there was Alabama passed what's known as self-deportation laws, where all they did was cut off the welfare and require proof of citizenship in order to get things like state benefits or education, and the illegals left on their own. That's all you have to do. You cut off the welfare. You basically enforce the law on illegals that you do on the U.S. citizens, and they leave. And when they leave, a lot of these places that quote unquote need illegals are surrounded, usually by blacks, poor whites, and some Hispanics. If you type in Alabama self-deportation law, you'll see a story where within 24 hours of this chicken plant saying that this law went into effect, they were surrounded by legal citizens. But that's it. You can see more of this on Twitter. I'll try to keep up with the story, see what happens if these two thugs who should have never been in this country are given some kind of justice. They may not be. But as you can see, it's And of course, do share this with others, because Google and Facebook and big tech will try to hide this story just like they have others. But anyway, that's one I want to tell folks about. Finally, get involved. Follow me at JustTheRightAngle and Rumble, also on Podbean and YouTube, Keep Arkansas Legal.